when you need help, advice, you're just not sure what to do? Who are you gonna call? Your big sis Riri. What is up, you guys? Welcome to the first recorded episode of Advice from Beyond the Grave. I am your host and virtual internet big sister Riri, and this is my talk show where I give you advice that is always 100% correct because I'm never wrong. About whatever you might have going on, or maybe a situation you're not sure how to handle or want to handle better in the future. You can submit to me, my beautiful, amazing viewers. It's completely anonymous. And for this first episode, I really wanted to dive into the first few requests that I got that started me on this journey. I have always been told that I give amazing advice. I'm really empathetic and good at viewing situations from many different perspectives. So I started this talk show initially as a special stream segment with goals to turn it into an official podcast. And here we are. This is it. You're listening to it right now. I'm sure I'll develop a little bit of a better introduction, something official and consistent. But I'm just excited to finally sit down and record something for you and get it where you can stream it and listen to me. I think it'll be a different experience than when we have our live talk show versions of Advice from Beyond the Grave. You know, when we do that, I'm usually talking with chat. Sometimes I have guests, other stream friends, or people who might have, maybe a vetted interest or specialty. But here it's just me. It's just Riri. It's my thoughts, and it's whatever you guys bring to me. So without further ado, let's jump into it. One of the first questions that I ever got is this one that we're going to start with right now. And something that I have started doing and tested out was giving myself one of those spooky robot voice changer effects, I guess, whenever I read out the request. That way it's a little bit of audio interest and a little bit of, you can tell it's not me talking. It's our random friend that is asking for help, our little sister or brother or whatever. So we're going to do that. And you guys can let me know what you think about it, because I tested a bunch of different things until I settled on this one. So without further ado, let's hear from our first friend.
I want to be friends with these people I care about. We're friendly enough, but my brain needs to hear explicitly that we're friends. Otherwise, maybe they're just friendly. But I'm terrified to ask, and how would I build a relationship that they'd want to be friends anyway? I don't want to pester them by trying to talk when they don't want to.
Now, Ghosty, I do want to start off addressing your concerns by outlining that friendship isn't something that is typically explicitly said. It's more about social cues. Now, there are ways to kind of confirm a friendship without asking, but it does require some good social awareness. It's a little tricky. You got to look for those situations. I think most of the time, once you're past a certain age, you don't really go around toting a friendship bracelet. You're not going around, this is my best friend this, my friend that. It's just more implied and less expressed, for better or for worse. You can usually tell someone's your friend because they, want to hang out with you. They talk to you. They're happy for you when good things happen to you. They're not like, oh, woe is me. Nothing good ever happens to me. They celebrate your successes instead of always focusing on themselves. They're just not threatened by your happiness and success. I think that is a really key defining point of being able to tell that someone is a friend. But there are lots of ways to build a friendship. So if someone is being friendly with you and you're just not sure if you're at that level where you can call them a friend, you can build a friendship even more. There's so many ways to do that. So let's go into that. Let's go into how to build a friendship. It sounds like you guys are friendly. So let's build on that, right? Something that is really, really key is to ask your friend about themselves. Ask other people about themselves. Reference something that they talked about, maybe something they're interested in, maybe an event that they were going to, something that they were doing. It shows that you were listening to them, first of all, huge thing. And secondly, it's actually like a psychological phenomenon. But when we get to talk about ourselves and someone listens and remembers that, we actually like them more. So if you do a lot of asking and they do a lot of talking and you are, an active listener, you remember these things and you continue to ask and show that you care, we perceive that as, oh, this person cares about me. They want to know about me. They're listening to me. We intrinsically trust and appreciate people who ask about us and listen to us. It's just like a kind of a natural thing that we do. So really opening up conversations and asking them about themselves is super, super key to building friendships and building trust. I would say on the flip side of that, though, you do need to let them in on your life while asking about theirs. Sometimes it's hard to get people to talk, even if you're asking and showing interest and concern and care. But you also need to rely on them. People, again, like to be relied upon. They like to be trusted. So if you're vulnerable first, that can really be key to opening people up that have a harder time doing so. It can also make them feel like it's okay to be vulnerable back. You're trusting them so they can trust you. I would say, kind of toe the line on this a little bit. Be careful about how much you open up to them. You don't want to trauma dump, for lack of better words, until you're confident that it wouldn't be weird. There are levels of friendship and comfortability with people, and if you're newer friends or maybe haven't had too many deep conversations, you're gonna want to hold back on telling them about, I don't know, your ex-partner who keyed your car and tried to kill you and has a restraining order or something. Like, save that for a little further down the line. Start small with, oh man, I broke my favorite cup today and then I tripped over my rug and fell on my face, and then I did XYZ and I've been having like a horrible day and I'm just in such a bad mood, blah blah blah. Like little life stuff like that, right? Like, oh my gosh, this person at work or this person at class. Like, start small before we get to full on trauma dumping. You need a foundation before you can just throw trauma all over it. Okay, so proceed with caution, but let them in on your life, be vulnerable while asking about theirs and follow up about theirs, right? Another thing that might really help you up your friendship level is to figure out an important date for someone, maybe their birthday, maybe like an anniversary, some kind of difficult milestone that they've had, and do something about it, right? Make plans to hang out, to celebrate, to take their mind off of it. Maybe it's like anniversary of a bad breakup or a death or something, traumatic. Maybe it's something great, anniversary of them beating cancer or graduating or a birthday. I think birthday is like a really safe one, because even if people say that, oh, I don't like to celebrate my birthday, I don't like my birthday, if you put effort to take them out, do something nice for them, maybe you get them a gift, maybe you just acknowledge the day, they're gonna notice it and they're gonna appreciate it, even if they don't really like their birthday, because I know a lot of people try to pretend that they don't. But find out some kind of day like that and just do something special. Again, it's showing that you listen, you notice, you remember this important date or time, or maybe it's, oh, that they love the holidays, and bring it up. Be like, yeah, I wanted to spend time with you. I know it's a random Wednesday in December, but I know how much you love the holidays, and I just wanted to do something special during this time since I know it means so much to you. Something like that. Like, bring up why so they know your intention, but know that, people appreciate when you notice them. That is like a key example, right? Like if you put in the effort, people are going to appreciate it. I want you to make sure that while you're getting to know this person, while you're growing your friendship level, be sure to express your gratitude. It can be simple. You can, write a thank you note if they've done something for you, shoot them a text, a Discord DM, leave them a voice memo, whatever it is. You could do something grander, like drop them a bottle of wine or their favorite drink or something. But when you feel like thankful for whatever it is that they've done or, you know, been to, or whatever it is, make sure to express the gratitude. Again, you're being conscious, you're living in the moment, and you want that person to feel appreciated. You want them to know that you're thankful for whatever it is that they've done for you. We don't express enough gratitude to our friends and to the people in our lives. So the more you do this, like truly, the more you'll realize how thankful you are for them. Thank someone for literally anything. Maybe they invited you to check out a new game, or maybe they invited you to a different group of people to play a game or to do something. Maybe they just had a conversation with you when you were having a bad day. Maybe they noticed you were having a bad day and they reached out to like check in on you. Whatever it is, like just make sure to say thank you, because time is money and they're spending their time on you, hopefully. And thank them for that. Show them that you notice and that you care and it meant a lot. Now, I do want to make a little note here that whoever you're trying to be friends with, like, they should be adding more positivity to your life and vice versa. You should also be adding more positivity to their life. And I'm not saying everything is going to be hunky dory and friends never fight and no one ever argues or whatever. But overall, the point of friends and found family is that they're the people that you choose to spend your time with. They are your people, they're your tribe, they're your friends. And overall, they should bring you more joy being in your life than you would have without them in your life, and vice versa. So, like any relationship, any kind of relationship, they are two-sided. And both parties need to agree, yeah, I like you and you make my life better being in it. So let's continue on this journey together, right? So keep that in mind. Sometimes you might think that you'd be really good friends with someone, but maybe they don't feel the same way. That doesn't need to mean anything about you. It just means that they didn't feel the same way. And that's okay. That's okay. Try to not let it bother you. If it does, it's okay to mourn the loss of a friendship or, the could have been, the friend that got away or whatever it is. But know that there are people out there who are going to want to be around you just as much as you do them. So save your energy and your love and attention for those people. Find those people. The last thing that I want to say, like a little tip to help grow a friendship is, we're all terminally online, right? Like that's how you found me and why you're here listening to me. While you're online, like if you see maybe a link for a cool shirt or a meme or a video or a song or a funny comment on whatever website you want to use, like anytime you see something like that that makes you think of a friend or makes you, I don't know, like reminds you of them or something you think that they would like, send it to them. Again, people like to know that we're being thought of. So if there's a reason to engage someone, like do it. Let them know, oh my God, I saw this and I thought of you. By the way, how are you? Let's go hang out. Like sometimes you need to do more of the reaching out until you figure out the balance of your friendship. But don't be afraid to just, share something stupid, have a 2-second conversation, and then, move on with your day. Friends, well, they vary. I shouldn't say this is for everyone, but Most friends, once you develop that friendship and you've been friends for a while, they aren't going to have friendship decay, and you can go like a week or a month without talking and everything is fine. People are busy, especially the older you get. Your life situation changes. So, obviously, at first, when you're building up a relationship, you're going to need to put a lot of attention and care into it. But as time goes by, most people are okay with not constant communication and they know that you're there. But maybe you want that, or maybe the person you're trying to become friends with wants that. And that's great. You just have to kind of adjust your, I guess, level of effort depending on that. Now, if we go back to the idea of, you know, I need to hear explicitly that we're friends. I need them to tell me, oh, yeah, we're friends. I mean, if you really, really want to, you could just like blatantly ask them, hey, we're friends, right? Um, like it it can be a little, I don't want to say off-putting because that's not true. um I think it all depends on how you phrase it. Like if you say, hey, I'm not always the best at social cues. I have a lot of issues with self-doubt, and I just want to make sure that I'm not, losing it. Like, we're friends, right? Like, we're cool. I don't know. I think if you contextualize it, there's a way to kind of bluntly ask someone. And, if you are friends, they probably already know that about you. And they're going to be like, yeah, dude, duh, of course we're friends. Why would I be here talking to you otherwise? But um, that approach can also be a little bit awkward. Like, when do you bring that up? How do you bring that up? It's going to be really, I don't know, dependent on the situation. I think there are ways to kind of confirm and ask without asking. So for example, like, oh, what are friends for, right? Like that's a way to kind of throw that friendship word out there. And sometimes people might not put friend, like the word, out there in the same way people sometimes are afraid to say I love you. But you can kind of confirm friendship by just being like, oh yeah, man, what are friends for, right? Like, that's, oh, thanks for coming out. Yeah, what are friends for? How are you? What's going on? Like, blah blah blah. Maybe another way is, if you want to kind of tie in some of my other tips for building up friendships, say you have a difficult situation going on, you can start off a conversation with something along the lines of, we're friends, so I feel like I can be honest with you. Or like, oh, you're my friend, I trust you, and can you give me some better advice on this since you know me a little bit better? Or, yeah, we're friends, right? So can you help me out with this? I'm just a little concerned, and I think I could use a perspective from someone that knows me. Something like that. Like, you're kind of tying in a lot of different things, right? You're relying on them, you're being vulnerable with them. But you're also like explicitly saying, yeah, we're friends. So this is why I'm coming to you and talking to you about it and asking you. So, they might not respond explicitly by saying, yeah, dude, we're friends. Like, let me help you out. But you're implying it. So by them answering you and showing concern and care, um, or not being weird after you say it, is kind of like a social cue that they agree, right? Now, all of this is to say that you do need to recognize when your own mental health is having a negative impact. Let me explain that thought, okay? So, I used to have a really good friend, um, and she always used to think that if someone didn't answer her or was too busy to hang out with her, that meant that she was being annoying and I hated her. Like, that's what she thought. In actuality, I was just super busy and also really bad at texting. And all of my friends got the same treatment that she got, despite her being like a really, really close friend of mine. So her self esteem in this situation and her doubt was kind of getting in the way of our friendship. Like, it reached a point where, I kind of had to talk to her and I was like, hey, is everything okay? You don't seem okay. Like, did I do something? What's going on? Right. And that's when she kind of was honest with me and said, yeah, if people don't answer me, this is what I think. Like, you didn't answer me or whatever. And so I thought you were mad at me or you hated me. That was all her, right? Like, I didn't know that's how she felt. If I did, I probably would have put more effort into making sure to get back to her, right? But also, it was really her self esteem and her own issues that were creating this rift, right? There's a in the great words of RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Right? That goes for friends too. If you don't see the value in yourself, then you're going to have a hard time accepting that other people see value in you. I read some, I don't know, discourse or conclusions from studies that people whose self esteem has them constantly questioning their own worth, has them feeling unsafe or uncomfortable in relationships, they stick to what is familiar by having those relationships in which they can't ever truly feel safe and comfortable. So sometimes you can almost like self sabotage yourself when you have such low self esteem, and the kind of friendships and relationships that you're going to attract being in that state is people that can and will take advantage of you. People with low self esteem can also take feedback or requests really personally. They can struggle with issues with jealousy and insecurity. You're going to question your worthiness. You're going to think it's a fluke that someone likes you and question their true emotions. Like, there's so many negative aspects of having a really, really, really low self esteem. I think we all struggle with self confidence, or at least most people do. That's very common. We can all have our moments of low self esteem and low self worth, but it can become a problem. Like, there's evidence and trends of people with severely low self esteem and what that can do to your social circle in your life, the way that you think about yourself, right? So, if this person that you are trying to become friends with, or you think you're friends with or want to be friends with, isn't reciprocating that and it makes you feel bad, then you need to, do what's best for you. You got to put you first and, invest your time into someone who's going to invest it back. So there was an article that I read because I wanted to look into this a little bit more and research a little bit. Not that I'll always do that, but um in looking up, more about interpersonal relationships, there uh was an article on the American Psychological Association, I believe, apa.org, that analyzed 52 different studies and found that positive social relationships, positive social support, social acceptance actually help shape the development for self esteem in people over time, literally from like all ages, from 4 to 76. Like, your whole life, that continues to shape your self esteem. And they found a significant effect in the reverse direction. So, it really supports the influence of self-esteem on social connections, right? And the influence of social connections on self-esteem in reverse. So if you have a bad self-esteem, if your self-esteem is really, really low and negative to the point of, mental harm, you're talking poorly about yourself all the time, look at your relationships. Look at the people you surround yourself with. See how they treat you, how they support you, how they accept you. And if you don't think that it's like good, if you don't think that you would want to treat them that way, then do not accept that treatment of yourself. It's really important to analyze these because they can have direct influence on our self-esteem and how much we value ourselves. Now, kind of flipping the coin around, when you have a really negative self image of yourself, when you have a low self esteem, it can impact your friendships too. It can impact someone who's in a relationship with you, whatever kind of relationship that is. It can almost feel like an insult to them. So, okay, ghosty, like, let's say Sarah. Sarah thinks that I only like her like for a fluke or something, right? Sarah thinks I only like her because I've got no one else around or whatever. How can Sarah actually value my feelings if she thinks that something I care about, which is Sarah, is deemed unworthy? Does that make sense? I feel like I talked in a circle. But if Sarah doesn't value herself, if Sarah thinks she's a piece of shit, if Sarah thinks that she's not worthy of my friendship, but I care about Sarah, she's my friend, and I see her, you know, not trusting my feelings that I care about her, then why do I think she's going to trust my other feelings about other situations if she's not trusting my feelings that I care about her and I think she's worthy? Right? Like it can kind of have a reverse effect when your self-esteem is so low that you can't even trust that someone cares about you and likes you and thinks that you're a worthy addition to their life, right? Ultimately, I hope some of these tips help you, especially the more specific ones about how to build a friendship and things that you can do. I know being social and social cues are more difficult for some people. And that's why I did want to address some of the information about insecurity and self esteem issues and how you might need to address some of that within yourself with a therapist or otherwise. But ultimately, you know, just do your best, be your best self, surround yourself with people that you like. Know that not everyone is going to want to be your friend and be okay with that. Maybe they even want to be your friend, but they just don't have the social capacity right now to be your friend. That's okay too. There will be people who will want to be your friend and they will like you. Relationships should be built on mutual affection and respect, and that should go both ways. You don't get to be friends with everyone, and not everyone gets to be friends with you, and that's okay. So put time and effort into this person, into the relationships that you want to grow. And if they don't give you that time and effort back, that is okay. Move on and find another one. But I hope that helps. All right, guys, we are moving on to our next ghostie who needs some help. So let's hear what they have to say.
I have been making a lot of new friends at school lately, mostly by just coming out of my shell and actually interacting with those around me. The only issue is that I'm scared to hang out with them in some settings. I'm a high school student, and where I live, the legal age for drinking is 21. Most people my age where I am from drink, which has been very concerning for me as someone who is, for medical reasons, unable to drink, though I really wouldn't want to, even if I could. I pride myself as someone who is strong against peer pressure, and they don't seem like the type of people to push activities onto someone else, but I'm definitely concerned regardless. I was wondering what I should do in this kind of situation. I really want to keep the friends I've made, and I'd love to hang out more, but this has been on the back of my mind.
Thank you for sharing your situation. Now, I think the easiest and most direct path here might be the best. If, it sounds like you guys are friends, you hang out, I would just be honest with them. If you're okay with talking about it anyway, maybe not everyone wants to reveal their medical conditions or whatever kind of health stuff they have going on. But I would say just be honest. Tell them you have a medical condition. You don't have to be, explicit about what it is, but tell them you have a condition and so you can't drink alcohol. You can just wait until they bring it up, like at a party, even. Like, you could go hang out with them, and if it comes up, if they offer it to you, just say, hey, actually, you probably didn't know, but I have this medical condition, so I can't drink alcohol. It's really like dangerous for me. Thanks, but no thanks, kind of thing. I think good people will totally respect that. Actually, not even I think. Good people will respect that. And if they give you a hard time about it or they don't respect it, then you know that these are not the kind of people you need to hang out with. Alternatively, though, you can make plans to hang out with these people in places where they're not going to serve alcohol to minors, right? So, make plans to go to a restaurant, make plans to go to a coffee shop, Make plans to go to an event or a movie or things like that. Um, Anywhere where they're not going to serve alcohol to minors, or they're not really able to like bring it or sneak it in. You can also have an out if you're going to go to a place and you're concerned about it. Maybe you don't want to tell them about the condition, or you're afraid if they pressure you, you want to have an out for the situation. So I would say have another friend, maybe a parent if you have that kind of relationship, a sibling, someone who knows the situation, that knows you're going to be out hanging out with them. Let them know, like, hey, pay attention to your phone. And when I text you, like if I need you to call me or something, like to make something up, I'm going to text you, right? So text them, hey, call me. I need an out or whatever. Maybe make up a code word. I don't know. So, like, I'm doing a horrible job of explaining this, but let's say, they have alcohol around, they offer it to you, or you feel like they're pressuring you to have some, you can text your friend, parent, sibling, whatever. Text them, hey, call me. I need to come home, or whatever it is, right? They'll call you and say, hey, I need you to come home, or hey, we're having an emergency. Like, I need you right now. And it'll give you a reason to leave or to come and be picked up, right? It gives you an out. Always have an out for the situation. It's just like, when you go into a new space, always look for the doors and the windows and the fire escapes. Same thing. Always have a plan to get your booty out of there, just in case. I don't think it'll happen if they're your friends and they respect you and you say you're good at not, falling to peer pressure, then I think you'll be fine. But it is always a little bit reassuring to have like a backup plan, right? Have something just in case worst case scenario happens. You have an out that isn't going to leave you in a bad position, right? Or sick or needing to go to the doctor or something. I hope that these tips and advice help you out. But I honestly think you are going to be fine and you'll do great and it'll be okay. But maybe someone else is a little bit less um good. They're not as good at avoiding peer pressure as you. So, hopefully this helps you out. But I believe in you. You're going to do great. All right, guys. I got my next question right here. So let's hear from ghosty number 3.
Hey, big sis. How do I become a better texter? I'm terrible at both replying quickly and building good texting rapport.
I think that this question coming to me is so ironic because I'm also horrible at this. It doesn't mean I don't know how to be good at it, um, but I'm not good at it. So it's probably a good reminder, and I need to take my own advice. I've been trying to do better, but I do have some tips that I think could help you out. So, one thing I think that could be useful is setting yourself an alarm or a reminder to check your texts or your messages. So, find a time that is good for you. Like maybe you're always in bed by like 10 p.m. or 1 a.m. or however your schedule looks like. Maybe have an alarm go off with a note that says, hey, check your texts or respond to your texts once a day or once every couple days in the morning or at night, or when you always eat lunch and you have time to like be on your phone. Like pick a time that works for you, however frequently you want it to be, and just set yourself that little reminder, because then it's going to go off and it's going to remind you to do it. But also don't ever turn it off. Like if you can't do it right that second, just snooze it, and snooze it until you can address it. Because if you just turn off the alarm every time, then it's not going to help you. So snooze it until you actually address it, right? Don't just turn it off. You could also get into the habit of checking every night before bed, or every morning before you get up, or when you go to eat lunch and sit down, you go on your phone and look through your messages and DMs and texts and make sure you've answered everybody. That's maybe something that could work for you. I would say also being honest with your friends and the people that message you. Be open and just say, hey, I'm super bad at being a texter. I'm not good at replying. If I ever don't answer you and you also remember or it bothers you, like, please remind me or please let me know. I'm trying to be better. Sometimes I just need a little bit of a gentle reminder to address something. I know that I've done this and it has worked so good. I have told people, like, hey, if I forget to do this, please remind me. I'm really sorry. I'm setting a reminder to myself. But if I forget to answer you, if I forget to do this thing, just tell me. And I've had someone remind me twice now to do something. So I'm going to do it right now, actually, since we're talking about it. But being honest and open with people can sometimes help you. Like they can help you help them or, whatever. I hope those suggestions can help you out and that you can become a better texter. I will also probably try to take my own advice on that one. uh anyway, on to our next ghostie in need of assistance.
Big sis Riri. How do I feel like I'm not a bother to my friends or family? I want to be more involved with my friends and their activities, but recently I've not been feeling 100%. I feel left out when it comes to activities with friends. I feel like a bother and I don't want to interrupt what they have going on. I am taking therapy to work on this, but it still feels like I do not belong when I'm with them. I feel they have grown super close with each other and I'm being left behind. What can I do?
I think this is something that is really, really common to struggle with, even to this extreme level. And I do want to start out by saying that therapy is a great step. I'm super, super proud of you for talking about this in therapy, going to therapy, working with a therapist. Like, so, so proud. Such a good job. Like, that's a great step, is that you've recognized that, it's something that someone can help you with. So that would have been my first suggestion if you didn't mention it already. Um, but beyond therapy, I want to talk about the potential friend issue that this could be. Like, this might not be all on you, it might actually be your friends. There's potential here that they are actually being toxic and making you feel that way. I'm assuming they're not if they're your friends and you want to be involved in their life and maintain that friendship. But since I'm only seeing it from your perspective, I'm trying to think of all potential aspects that you might need help with that might be making you feel this way. And it is possible that these friends of yours are making you feel this way. Like there is a world where you're trying to be a friend and they're just kind of using your attention or making fun of you. I can't really relate because I've never kept someone around that I didn't genuinely want to be around. But I know, especially in younger ages, in college and stuff, people will keep others around them and call them their friend just so that they have someone to, like, I don't know, bully or pick on or rely on. And they can just say, oh, I'm just joking with you. We're just friends, blah, blah, blah. So, it's possible there's a world where they're making you feel this way. And I wanted to put that out there at the very beginning to make you, just look at the friendships and evaluate and make sure that the way that they're treating you is how you would like to be treated. And if you treated your friends that way, like, you would feel okay about it. But if it's not them, if it is, your mentality, your mindset, I would say try to put yourself in their shoes, right? Um, if they're going somewhere doing something, is it an open invitation that anyone can join? Are they the type of people to reach out and specifically invite people? Or do they just say, hey, I'm going to go do this, assuming that if someone wants to join, they can join? Or do they, like, reach out, hey, I'm going to do this, want to come with me? Or, hey, group chat, I'm going to do this. So and so, do you want to come with me? Like, how do they typically go about inviting people to things, right? Because some people, it's just like, oh, you're just invited if I bring it up. Some people are very specific and explicit with that, right? Also, it's possible if you've declined a lot of invites in the past, They maybe think, oh man, they're bothered by this. I don't want to reach out to them exclusively and invite them because then they're going to have to decline and then they're going to feel bad about declining. And I don't want to make them feel bad. So I'm not going to invite them. Like, that is totally a possibility. So think about all the scenarios why they wouldn't invite you to something. Like I said, it could be the way that they invite. And it also could be, they're feeling bad if you've declined a lot, or honestly, even if they perceive you as being super busy or someone that's not into doing something, like, oh, they don't usually like to go shopping, or they don't usually like coffee, or they're a homebody and don't want to go out, or they're super busy, so I don't want to bother them and invite them. They could be thinking kind of the same thing as you, but from the other side, saying, oh, I don't want to bother them, so I'm not going to invite them. Right. So just putting ourselves into their shoes a little bit, into their perspective, right? Honestly, I think if they are your friends and it sounds like you have a good relationship with them, you've just not been feeling, like you said, you've not been feeling 100% lately. I would suggest having a conversation either with the whole group of friends or just like one on one, maybe the one you're closest to or something. Just let them know that you're feeling a little left out, or you're feeling a little off, you're feeling a little down, you're, feeling some type of way, and it's making you like feel a little bit left out or feel like you're a bother. Like, let them know that, hey, this is kind of how I'm feeling. Like, I just want to talk about it. Is everything okay? Are we good? A friend is gonna care, you know? Like, if they are your friends and they're giving you the energy back that you're giving them, and you tell them that you're feeling off, they're gonna be like, oh my God, I didn't know you were feeling that way. I'm so sorry. Like, I'll make sure to do this or do that moving forward to try and help you out, but we're good, right? So I think that is something that I would recommend, especially, you're going to therapy. And I think it would be a really good step in the right direction for you to feel a little empowered and feel how close you are with your friends, right? Especially if you've been feeling like they're growing close without you. This is a way, like I talked about earlier, a few ghosties back that wanted to be closer friends. Like, this is a way to remind them, hey, you're my close friend too. And I still care about you and want to hang out with you, right? You can also always, make your own events and invite them to things. You don't have to rely on your friends to invite you to stuff. You can make your own plans and invite them, whether it's a whole group, whether one on one, whatever it is. Make plans and invite them along. You don't have to wait for them to do it. Like, you are able to do it too. I would say, if you're feeling like they're going close without you, then you could potentially do like a whole group thing. Or if one friend likes to watch movies and another friend likes to eat dinner and another friend likes to get coffee or whatever, like, you could have also one-on-one settings where you invite people out individually. How you can have these closer conversations, let them know that you've been kind of like feeling off lately and just really your self-esteem has been low, and et cetera, et cetera. I do want to point out that it is possible that your other friends have grown closer without you, or closer than you are with them. Some people just click that way, especially if you haven't been spending as much time with them, or if you've been pulling away because you feel like you said, you feel like you're a bother, you feel like you're not super close. So we can pull away when we feel that way, which is just going to make the distance feel worse, right? It is possible that they have connected and created a bond that is different than your bond with them, or is different than when you're there. That's kind of part of life, unfortunately. Sometimes we grow apart, sometimes we grow in different directions, sometimes other people grow closer than we do with them. I know I've had that situation multiple times where I'll be in, especially a trio of friend. I have this theory, or I swear I've read somewhere, and I did try to look into it a little bit, but I wasn't really finding much about how, like, trios, sets of three, are really bad for friendships, relationships, groups, because people will naturally pair off. And when you're in three, there's always going to be someone alone. Like, even numbers are so much better. Anyway, I digress. But because of that and that theory that I have, um, it's possible that they have become closer as a duo. If it's like two people, I'm kind of guessing it is. It sounds like there's a plural other friends here, so I'm assuming two. Eh, But that doesn't mean that they're not good friends with you. They don't want to be your friend. They don't want to hang out with you. Maybe they just have some more things in common. Maybe they experienced something together that really brought them closer. There's so many things that could have led to this point, and even led to your perception of it, being accurate, right? But that's okay. Like, you can grow closer to them. You can maintain that friendship. We're not always going to be someone's best friend. Like I said, I've encountered this before. I've been in many trios of friends where the other two people end up becoming closer friends than I do. And, it happens for a multitude of reasons. And I'm sure one of those reasons is myself. Not that I'm to quote blame, because it's not a bad thing per se, but I'm not the most talkative in text. I don't really like phone calls. I'm super, super busy. And so stuff like that could lead them to being closer to someone who's more available, right? So there's little things like that that can create that situation, but it doesn't mean that your friendship is any less valuable. Our relationships change over time, for better or for worse. They evolve and they grow with us. And sometimes in different periods of life, other friendships are going to serve people better than a friendship with you. It doesn't mean that they don't want to be your friend, but other friendships kind of fit into their life at that moment better. And that's okay. But you should know your worth and know your value. You should know that, if it if it brings you down in some way, or if it makes you feel negative, or just bad, if it makes you feel bad in some kind of way, it's okay to let friendships go, and it's okay to not even let them go, but let them, I don't know, dangle. Let them simmer, let them marinate off to the side. We don't have to always put the same amount of energy into our friendships as we do all the time. Sometimes we get busy, so we need a more low key friendship, or sometimes our interests and hobbies change. So we need a friend that wants to do these new things with us, right? It doesn't mean that you don't care about your friend or you don't want to be their friend anymore. But as we change in our life, our friendships and our relationships change too. And we don't always have control over those changes, because there's more than just one person involved. I think the key takeaway from this is that continue to engage in therapy. I'm super proud of you. I think that's an amazing thing to do. Evaluate the friends that you have and how they treat you. Really put yourself in their shoes and try to look at, your recent history from an unbiased perspective. And honestly, I think the best advice, the best thing that I think you should take, the first action you should look into, is having a conversation with them. I think you'll feel a lot better afterwards, one way or another. You'll either get clarity or comfort, or maybe both, probably both. And then you can, go forth in your friendships and be happy and feel supported and cherished. Okay, ghosties, we are on to our last submission for this episode. Again, just going through really early submissions, and highlighting some of the ghosties that got me here and got us started and has turned this podcast into what it is now. So, without further ado,
As someone who falls closer to both asexual and aromantic, I haven't decided if I want a partner, female or not. But I'd like to make the effort to at least try, then maybe find out if I'm demisexual or fully asexual or aromantic. I think it would be nice to have someone to offer mutual commitment, support, and attention to. One of the challenges, I think, would be finding someone who fits my expectations. In that, I'm looking for someone with a similar income so we can split responsibility 50-50, financial chores, planning, etc., has demonstrated they are responsible enough to take care of themselves, something where sex is not an important part of the relationship, and they'd be willing to put off the decision of having kids for 10 plus years. I think these are somewhat tough qualities to find out and ask about a potential partner, so I'm not sure what the best strategy would be here to pursue while at the same time also being fair to the other person.
I do want to add a few details for context that they provided. This ghostie was a early 20s male, full-time software engineer. They've been employed for like a year and a half now. They earn like slightly below average maybe for a software engineer, but they don't work crazy hours, not that many hobbies, but looking to pick something up. They live by themselves. They handle all of their cooking, cleaning, bills, medical, generally introverted. They don't use social media, not too many close friends. They're all out of state. So a little background, I think, helps clarify or give us a little bit more insight into the situation. I also want to preface, in case anyone doesn't know, asexuality, also called ace, is the lack of sexual attraction to others or a low or absent interest in or desire for sexual activity. A romantic or aro is a lack of romantic attraction to others or lower absent desire for romantic activity. And then demisexual or demi is asexual orientation. You only feel sexual attraction to someone after they've formed a strong emotional bond with you. And demi falls under the ace spectrum of asexuality. I really do understand this ghosty struggle like so much. Sexuality is something that I think changes as we age, as we mature, even when we meet certain people. And such a complicated spectrum. Um, I've gone through struggles with it myself, and also I'm still figuring out, if I want to label myself, what I want to label myself as. So you're certainly not alone in trying to figure this out and figure out how to live the life that you want, how you want. I think you have a decently healthy outlook on life and partnership. Um, I do want to just kind of point out, like you mentioned, you want to split responsibility 50-50, financial stuff, chores, planning. You want someone with a similar income. And you can probably find that, but just know that life throws a lot of shit at you. And splitting responsibility totally 50-50 in all these aspects isn't always feasible. So, for example, I can use myself. I was laid off last year. I didn't have a job for 10 months, despite looking, I promise. Like, I was looking. But if I'd had a partner at the time who was splitting 50-50 in rent, suddenly I don't have money to contribute. Are you just going to leave your partner if that happens? Are you just going to give up on them and be upset? Or are you going to support them through the change? And then once they get a job, you can like resume, your agreements. Or maybe you resume, but now it's more like 60-40 so that they can regain their savings account or whatever. Life can do a lot for you. Maybe even with like cleaning or cooking and chores, someone lost a family member and now they're really depressed and it's difficult for them to want to feed themselves and feed you while they're grieving and going through this period in their life. There's a lot of things that life will throw at you and will happen as we age, as things change, that can make that ideal 50-50 split really difficult or impossible or not feasible. So you can have the expectation, just really evaluate how you'll react when that happens, because you'll probably have to support your partner in, any of those categories more than 50% at some point. But on the same side of that coin, they will do that for you as well. That's part of the partnership, right? I do also think that it's great you mentioned that you want to wait to potentially have kids if your partner wants them. I think a lot of women, since you specified you were looking for a female partner, a lot of women are wanting to wait too, and you're still young in your early 20s, so you have plenty of time to figure out if you want kids. You have plenty of time to save for them, to figure out if your partner would want them. And set yourself up, set your family up for success, and have them a little bit later in life. There's nothing wrong with that, and I think it's great that you've already thought that far ahead. Now, I think the root of your question about deciding if you want a partner or not, in order to figure that out, you kind of have to maybe go on dates and like have partners, because if you never try it, how do you know if it's not for you and if you don't like it? I think it's totally possible to be ace and or arrow and or demi and have a partner. There are other people who fall under that, category or would label themselves as such. And there are people who don't, but understand and respect you and would still love you for the person you are. So that being said, maybe try dating apps, question mark. So the thing with a dating app is you are able to put in that profile that you're aromantic or asexual and looking for a supportive partnership that is different from a sexual relationship, like however you want to phrase it, right? How whatever you want to admit and discuss, but it lets you can put that information on your profile. So are you going to get way less matches than other people? Probably, because I think, being more sexual is more of the quote unquote norm. But by putting it on your profile in some way, however you want to word it, it's out there. You're not trying to fool anyone, and you're only going to get people who are okay with that or interested in it, right? I don't know if there are any dating apps or websites specifically for ace or arrow identifying people, but maybe Google it and see if there are. I probably should have done that for you, but here we are. I think it's worth being upfront about. And other ace or arrow people are going to be so happy to find like-minded people on a dating app. So yeah, I would start there, because then you can at least have conversations with people and see how that goes, right? Without too much commitment, if it's all virtual or, setting up a date here or there. I think you could also meet people in real life and go on dates outside of dating apps. Obviously, I think dating apps these days are kind of like the way to go if you want to meet people and go on dates. But even if you just meet people out in the world doing stuff, ask them to go on dates, or, just get to know someone, you can mention it in, normal conversation too. Mention that you identify as asexual, but you're young, you're still exploring yourself. You're more aromantic, and if they don't know what that means, then it gives you a chance to educate them and let them in on a little piece of yourself. It is worth going on dates, even getting into relationships or dating people and not having, like a quote unquote official girlfriend or something. It's worth going on dates and exploring yourself in this way, because you're going to learn a lot more about yourself. You're going to grow as a person. You might change and even learn new things about yourself as you're going on dates, as you're dating people, as you're in a relationship. There are certain things that are hard to emulate or guess about ourselves until we're in the situation. And especially when it comes to sexuality and how much of a spectrum it is, I think it's worth trying to meet people and go on dates and really explore this side of yourself, especially while you're younger. Age can make you a little afraid of change and new things sometimes. And you do have a lot of time before I think that would start to hit you. But, explore while you're younger. Take advantage of the energy and the time and the amount of change that, you can go through. You might be thinking, Riri, I am in my mid 20s. I'm working a job. I'm a full grown adult. Like, how much am I going to change? I promise you are going to change. You are going to become a more confident version of yourself. You are going to become more sure of yourself. You're going to learn so many things about yourself over the next 5 years, 10 years. You're still going to be the same person inside, but the outside version of you is going to change. So while you're still kind of figuring yourself out, while you're still young and growing, and God, this sounds like you're a child, and I don't mean it to come across that way, but you have so much room to grow. Like, really, right now, the world is at your fingertips. Like, your life is a ball in your hand. So please, I encourage you to be authentically yourself. Go out there and meet people and go on dates and really envision what it would be like to have a partner and live with them. It doesn't matter that you're asexual. It doesn't matter that you're aromantic. It doesn't matter that you're demisexual. None of that matters. If you want a partner in life, you can find someone who has the same morals and values and understands who you are and will fit into that puzzle with you and will want that. It might be a little harder, like, when we're not on the more common side of the spectrum, it might be a little harder. Our pool might be a little smaller, might require a little bit more effort, but that's okay. If it's something that you are unsure of if you want or not, it's really time to explore now and think if you want it now. That way, in 10 years, you don't have to wonder what if. Like, what if I do actually want a partner, or what if I don't? You can figure that out now. And then, move forward in life. Not to say that, that won't change. Maybe you decide you don't want a partner, and then in 20 years, you're like, damn, now I kind of really want one. I want like a, a roommate who, wants to have like a family unit with me, whatever that looks like for you, right? That desire can change over time. Even in like a normal, I hate using that word normal because there's nothing wrong with you or me or anybody, but in the more common family unit of a man and a woman and kids, even that relationship can change. I mean, people cannot want kids, and then once they're married with the person that they care about, then that desire to have kids sometimes pops up. Like, I've seen it happen. And sometimes that never changes. Sometimes they're in a monogamous relationship with someone, and they decide to open that up and have a, triad situation. Like, we can change in so many ways. And so you never know what's going to happen. Just experience the life that you have now and try to learn more about yourself as you go. I feel like I rambled so much on that, and I didn't need to, but I just really want to instill in you, Ghosty, to go out there and try things out and just learn if it's something that you want or not. Evaluate that for yourself. Don't hold yourself back from anything, regardless of your label, because you can find someone who will fit into your life if you decide that you want that. And with that, we're coming to a close on the first official episode of Advice from Beyond the Grave. I do want to give a special thank you to everyone who submitted their situations, questions to me. Thank you for being vulnerable with me. I hope that you felt the love and care that I put into, my advice. I hope that you felt that through my words. I hope you know that your life is valuable, your feelings are valid, and you're the only you that will ever be. So please take care of yourself. Drink plenty of water. I'm watching you, okay? Big Sis Riri is always going to be here for you. If you have something that you need help with, you need advice on, and you feel like you can't talk to anyone, your big sister will always listen. Maybe my advice isn't perfect. I'm not your therapist. Maybe my advice isn't as loving as you would expect it to be if it was coming from your mom or your friend, but I am going to be real with you. I'm going to support you, and I'm going to tell you what the fuck you need to do to hopefully come out of your situation better and happier, or at least with the best outcome we can hope for. Thank you again for all of your submissions. Thank you so much for listening if you made it to the end. And I will see you on the next episode. Hopefully, it's a little cleaner. I'm going to do my best. This is my first one, so I'm sure it'll improve as we go by. But thank you for sticking around and supporting me. I will see you guys next week. Bye.